You still they do this your yahoo business where on they take spoil our name?
Uncle, how for do now? Where the work?
So you never hear say government don't set up small and medium enterprises development agency of Nigeria
to give you information wey go help you to start your own business and be oga of yourself. Smedan don dey help people with different way and idea to make business to better them life.
Thank you. Come make a take you go Smedan. Come here.
Way to industrial development.
Are you welcome to Smedan. Smedan can help you plan your business properly, give you information on extra business opportunity that you can even carry to Godo to sell. Smedan, I show you the road. Smedan, I give you fantastic advice. Forward march to the classroom.
The surest way to industrial development.
Smedan, the government agency for help to develop small business for Nigeria.
In June, the President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, appointed Olawale Fasanya as the DG CEO of Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, Smedan. On this edition of The Exclusive with Kemi Ajmobi, he tells me about his vision, his goals as the new DG. It promises to be an interview that will help SMEs and other business owners on how to run their businesses and funds that are available at their service. Welcome to another edition of The Exclusive with Kemi Ajmobi. And like I always say, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Thank you so much for giving us your time, sir. We're truly grateful. I know you have one or two things to do, so I'll just go straight to the point. While I was going through the research on you, after you were appointed as a DG and CEO of Smedan, I found out that you've been one of the pioneers of Smedan. So take us through that process of being a pioneer and how you've also helped to build Smedan to what it is today.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, the agency came into being in 2003 with an act of the National Assembly. The agency was set up primarily to develop MSMEs in all ramifications, and prior to the emergence of Smedan, there has not been any agency that has been in charge of a coordinated approach to SME development. So when we came on board, initially the Act says the agency should be called Smedan, Small and Medium Industry Development Agency. But when we came on board, we find out that if you say just industry, you have to look at the commerce side. And so in order to make it, more encompassing, we changed the name to Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, as it is in some other parts of the world. I was part of it when we started, just 3 or 4 of us. We started in one room on a table like this, So, and we have been able to grow it to what it is today. The initial approach is to provide business information. And so we started by going to all the states to sensitize governors on the need for them to embrace SME development, because going by our initial statistics, we found out that the economy is actually running on SMEs. Because if you look at the population of large businesses in Nigeria, they are not up to 1 million. So when we had the survey that says we have 41.5 MSMEs in Nigeria, out of that 41.5 million, the total number of even small businesses and big put together is not up to 2 million. So the rest are nano, what we can now call nano and micro small businesses. The medium ones are very few, the large ones are very few. So the agency now have the mandate to make sure that we now can hold a number of these small businesses. And majority of them operate informally. So part of what we started doing was to even see how many of them we can formalize. So we try to move them from informality to formal. especially the micro businesses. But along the line, we find out that when you say micro businesses, those are businesses that are employing up to 9 persons. And we found out that it's too elastic. So we now came up with nano businesses, which are one-man businesses, because they are also in majority, when you look at it. So people employing just one person plus themselves. Self-owned businesses that just run on the owner, or the owner employing 1 or 2 people. So we now segregated, and that's why we now have nano businesses, different from micro. So all along, and then when we came on board, the initial thinking of everybody that is in business is that the problem is fund. But people don't think that it's not just about money. You need to build your capacity to run your business. Most people will start businesses and they die at infancy. People who are retired, they get their pension, they see their neighbors running a bakery. They also want to start a bakery because they see him riding cars. They don't know if his children are sending the cars to him. So most Nigerians do business by perception. So we want to fill that gap. So we concentrate more on building capacities, providing business development support services, and a host of other business information for people to start their business. So we also started in our offices what we called business clinic. So you can walk in and then talk to us, so we can shape your mind towards a particular business. Or if you're already running your business, you can come in and then we diagnose the problems and we try to provide solutions. But it's been equivalent because most times we build people's capacity, they are not able to access funds. So it's a major issue. So along the line, we now started thinking of programs that can be inclusive of a little funding and capacity building. So in recent times, we have to roll out programs like the conditional grant scheme, where we assist the nano businesses with little fund. Is a grant, maybe not more than 50,000, 100,000, but it goes a long way for a one-man business. And then we have the matching fund program, where we match funds with funding agencies like banks. We bring some money, they also match with us, and then we now dictate the interest. And then we can actually write off the interest from our own counterpart fund. So we started this about 2 years now, and we are concentrating on agribusiness. So as an agribusiness owner, you can access between 2.5 and 5 million to inject into your business. Payback at very minimal interest rates, maybe maximum 6% or so. But we still run on government subvention. Our budget is solely from government. So we don't have big money to put. But I think we've been able to do, at least this year now, with the banks we are matching funds with. We have Bank of Agric, Fidelity, Jais Bank. We've been able to pull about 500 million, and this the banks we on lend to beneficiaries.
Nice. But as DG, are there initiatives that you intend to put to the fore? What are the things that you intend to do as DG that will be different from what your predecessor was doing?
Yeah, over time, we now know exactly where the shoe pinches small business and growing businesses. So, like I said, one of the major things is capacity. But now we don't want to continue doing just classroom kind of training and all that. So what I intend to put a lot of emphasis on, and I've briefed my staff, and we are currently training them to provide advisory services. There are a lot of people out there doing their business, but they don't have the requisite knowledge. So we will go out. We will make sure that we send out our staff. They will now be like extension officers who will visit you where you are doing your business, ask you questions, provide solutions, advisory services. It goes a long way. So if we now discover that, okay, your problem is funding, we identify a funding agent. And like I said, Apart from the matching fund, we are also, before the end of the year, we want to experiment with a microfinance institution. We already have subscribers from the private sector. We have some BMOs like AWEP, Association of Women Entrepreneurs, NASMI. They all want to have shares. So we are virtually ready. It's just for us to finalize the license with the CBN, and this we will do in the next few weeks so that we can also fund in a little way. And then when we take off, we are looking at getting some other funders, even internationally, to come and help us capitalize the bank. We are also talking to CBN to see what we can also do together to make sure that at least we fill the gap of access to funding. We are also training our staff to be able to assist SMEs put together bankable business plans, because most times this is the problem.
Yes.
Most of them, they don't really know what to do, so we'll be filling that gap. And they were approaching some states to start what we will call BDS volunteers, business development service volunteers that we will train. So if in a state government is ready to get some youths together, we'll train them, and then we ask state government to pay them stipends, so that will not come from us, but it's a way of taking the youth out of the street. So they too will be complementing us by going to provide advisory services to SMEs. So these are some of the initiatives. And then we also know that a lot of SMEs don't have where to practice what they know. They find it very difficult to get workspace. So we have 23 industrial development centers scattered all over the country. So we intend to use these industrial development centers to provide workspace for as many SMEs that they can take. Some of them, they have land space of about 25 hectares, and we have not been able to put them to use. So I want to direct my energy to make sure that we allocate them to SMEs, let them be in there so that they can have workspace. And within those IDCs, we will bring in regulatory agencies like NAFDAC, NEPC, other agencies that have one thing or the other to do with SMEs. And we also intend to work with the science and tech to have incubation centers within those IDCs. So you can incubate your business and practice it there. We also have innovation hubs where young people can go to, use office space because they cannot afford offices. There are a lot of young people with bright ideas. What they need is just a space,
yes.
And then they can do e-commerce and all sorts.
I was going to talk about the young people, and it's quite interesting that you're mentioning it, because there are lots of young people who are into different things and they just need support. So I was going to ask you what Smedan is doing to help the youth, but I think you mentioned that already, and I'm asking you that for your However, SMEs are open to cyber attacks because they're not really, especially the ones that are just starting up and not too good with how to work with the net and all of those things. What is Smedan doing to help to guide them against cyber attacks?
Yeah, we are currently partnering with Google, and we're also partnering with Facebook to train a lot of youths, on cyber security and how they can run their business profitably online. So we are going to go to all the 36 states. I think just last week we had, about 200 youths. We trained them in Kano on cyber security, and we're working with NIDA to make sure that we put a lot of information out there on cyber security, especially as it relates to small and growing businesses.
My next question would be, what are the initiatives and policies that Smedan is putting in place to help to ensure that SMEs enjoy growth in their businesses?
Yeah, we have, currently we have a national policy, MSMEs, and that national policy prioritizes a lot of things. Unfortunately, this time around, we are working with development partners to make sure that that policy is seamlessly implemented. We are not just saying we have a policy that is in one file. We want to make sure that the policy is implemented to the letter. And how are we doing this? We already have are what we call focal officers from different MDAs that we put together. We are training them. They will be working with us. We have what we call SME councils in different states of the Federation. About 24 states have keyed in. They've inaugurated their councils. We're appealing to other states to also have their councils. So these councils will have all agencies, even both private and public agencies that have one thing or the other to do with SME. So that, and everybody will have the policy, as their guide, so that they will be able to now touch all the nitty-gritty that's contained. And then we are monitoring it to make sure that the policy is being implemented. We now have a coordinated approach to SME policy implementation. And that policy gives a lot of priority to youth, a lot of priority to students, so that while they are in school, we are already reorientating them so that when they leave school, most of them can become business owners. The policy also recognizes people with disabilities. Just yesterday we trained, I think, 100. We couldn't do more than that because we intend to empower them. So we'll be moving on like that. And I even said yesterday that we are going to organize special fairs for PWDs because these people, they are disabled, but they are not mentally disabled. So some of them are producing wonderful products. So we want to showcase them and also see a way that we can open markets for them. We can get off-takers for their products, So these are some of the things we intend to do moving forward.
With many organizations, there are challenges. So we're going to ask you, what are the challenges that Smedan is facing, and how are you rising above those challenges to ensure that it doesn't affect, the carrying on of work and to help?
Well, you cannot run away from challenges. There are a lot of challenges confronting small businesses, especially in Nigeria. Level of insecurity is one issue. Infrastructure, most times SMEs go through a lot, and that's why they are not as competitive as some others in other climates, because they have to provide their own water, at times provide their own road to where their business is. They have to provide electricity for themselves. So all these things, by the time they invest in these things, it's already eroded into their capital outlay. So, but some of these things are beyond our control, and that is why we are now focusing on clusters of businesses and trying to form SMEs into cooperatives where we try to assist them. For example, we have a program called One Local Government, One Product. We've been to virtually all local governments and we are still going. We are still getting people, we put them together as a cooperative. We identify machines that can automate what they are doing, especially if they are in the same value chain of business. And then we give them a little capital, So if we identify machine, for example, if you are producing groundnut oil, maybe you are doing 10 gallons a day. We look at machines that can make you produce 20 gallons. And then we train you. And then we provide machine and we write off 30%, we pay back 70% so that we can help other people. So these are some of the things we are doing to, confront the issue of infrastructure and other things that are outside our control. And the issue of workspace, like I said, we're also trying to see how we can provide workspace for SMEs.
I remember I was having a conversation with you before you started, and I said one of the things that you're passionate about is unemployment and finding a way to ensure that people are employed. And one of the things that COVID had caused is that a lot of people lost their jobs and there are a lot of businesses also suffered. In what ways are you helping to encourage employment, and what is Smedan doing about this?
Well, most of this our youth program is actually to encourage employment. We have a particular program that we call National Business Skills Development Initiative. So what we do there is that we bring youths together, we train them, and we give them starter packs. And then we now monitor them thereafter. So if we give you a starter pack, maybe within 6 months, you are able to now enlarge your business, you'll be able to employ 1 or 2 persons, And that is why I said we'll also deploy officers to visit them, to try to help you solve some of your problems. The issue of funding, which I told you is major. We are putting a lot of attention to see how to attract funds for SME, to see where they can access funds at single-digit interest rates. We just recently also were working on a portal called Credit Information Portal for SMEs, so that when you go on that portal, you'll be able to know which funding windows are available with banks, at what interest, and how can you access it. And we can assist you. In fact, our intention is to get banks to key into the portal, so you can actually apply through that portal. And then we follow up for you to make sure that you access funds. But these days, a number of banks have also approached us that they have SME-friendly loans, that they don't really require collateral. I know recently IBTC, Fidelity Bank, came to us, and we're going to partner with them to make sure that SMEs are able to have information, because most times the problem is even information. So we are also making sure that in all our 36 state offices and the FCT, we have business information centers and SME clinic, like I said. So those people will be providing information to you. If your problem is NAFDAC number, we'll provide information and we link you up and we follow up, so that it doesn't take you a long time to get your NAFDAC certification. So if we now are sure that your problem is funding, we will know where we refer you to. If it is not within those initiatives that we're also complementing funding with capacity building.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olawale Fasanya. It's been really nice speaking with you. But before you go,
Well, what I will start by saying our slogan, which is think big but start small. Most people think until they have millions before they can start a business. But that is not the usual case. And then if you are running your business, you are having issues, you can reach out to us. We are going to provide you advisory services and guide you, so that within a little time, you overcome some of your business challenges. Thank you very much.